Hello, my name is Chad Pollitt. I'm the Director of Inbound Marketing here at Kuno Creative, and welcome to Inbound Marketing in 10 Minutes or Less, Tuesday's Tips and Tactics. This week we're going to be talking about blog post optimization with SEO. And just to let you know real quick, down there at the bottom you've got a hashtag and my Twitter handle. Feel free to communicate with me via that means or the blog comments below. Also, feel free to share ideas for future Tuesday's Tips and Tactics, things that will help you in your inbound marketing endeavors. So this is the second part of a three-part series on blog post optimization. Last week we talked about social media optimization, and this week we're going to be addressing search engine optimization. Now, what do I mean when I say blog post optimization with SEO? Specifically, we're going to look at on-page SEO factors for your blog. So those are those factors that theoretically we have full control over. Those factors that we do not have to rely on others to take action, like build backlinks or so on and so forth, things like that. So these are the 7 areas that I want to discuss today for on-page optimization. And there are tons more of factors that go into on-page optimization, but these 7 are pretty important, and I want to focus on these today. The number one thing that you can do for on-page optimization for your blog, bar none, is to make sure that you produce good problem-solving and or entertaining content, and that you're publishing it frequently. Now, in a perfect world, I'd say you want to publish at least 21 times a week, but I know that's probably not, you're probably not capable of doing that. Most companies aren't. They don't have the resources allocated to publishing that frequently. However, if you can start off with 3 posts a week, work your way up to 5, and always shoot for a higher number, you're going to find wonderful search engine optimization results from publishing that frequently. So if you can deploy those resources, then do. So the next factor I want to talk about is the page titles on your blog posts. Couple rules you want to consider when you write your page titles. You want to make sure you keep them less than 70 characters. And whatever keyword phrase you think that blog post should come up for in search, whatever that blog post is about, you want to make sure that the primary keyword phrase is in the page title. And a good rule of thumb is to always keep it as close to the beginning of that page title as possible. Now the next factor I want to talk about is your URL. Now in this example I'm showing here, you see HubSpot Partner Services in the page title and the URL, in the trailing URL. Something to take note of, that primary keyword phrase, HubSpot Partner Services, for that particular page, in a perfect world, we want that as close to the www as possible. So in a perfect world, it would be www.hubspotpartnerservices.com rather than in the trailing URL. But since kunocreative.com is our URL, we have no choice but to put it in the trailing URL. The next factor we're going to talk about is alternative text. Now, this is a tag in the code designed specifically for the visually impaired. So those people that use text readers to read the internet, the text reader goes in and it reads the content, and then when it hits an image, it's going to rely on the content in the alt text to describe the image to that person. Now, Google uses this alternative text as another means to decide how relevant your content is for a particular keyword phrase. So because Google does that, we want to always make sure that we include at least one image on every blog post. And we always want to make sure that image has alternative text and that we have relevant keyword phrases in that alternative text. And just a side hint, make sure that the title of the file, of the image file itself, that JPEG, try to put a keyword phrase in that particular file name as well. Now let's talk about metadata. Now metadata is your meta keywords and your meta description in this example. It is true that Google admitted, and so did the other search engines, that they do not use these when determining where you rank. Now I've written extensively on other reasons why you want to make sure you have meta keywords and meta descriptions for your website. I'm not going to go into those reasons, but you want to make sure that you have at least 10, or excuse me, at most 10 meta keywords, and don't have less than 3. Okay, that's a general rule of thumb. You also want to make sure you have keyword phrases in your meta description. And the reason you want to do that is because if that page comes up in a Google search for that particular keyword phrase, Google will bold it and it will stand out. So it will make your listing on Google stand out. So the next factor I want to talk about is your header tags. Now, header tags function similar to how you'd write an outline. So if you remember back in middle school or high school when you wrote your first outline, you had a title for the outline, you had the big letter I, you had the big letter A, so on and so forth, and they all were indented a little bit, and you built your outline that way. Well, header tag serves the same purpose. Okay, so your H1 tag is similar to the title of an outline. You're only going to have one title for one outline, so you're only going to have one header tag per page. Okay, and you want to make sure that you include a keyword phrase in your H1 tag when possible. And then as you go through, if your content logically is laid out in an outline format, use the appropriate header tags to display that content. And where keywords are relevant, use keyword phrases in those. But remember, you're writing naturally. You're not writing for the search engine. So if it doesn't make sense or it doesn't read right, don't do it. Now I want to talk about keyword dispersion and keyword families. Now for years, SEO people have talked about keyword density rates in web content. Well, there's been lots of studies on that, and the truth is, don't worry about keyword density rates. Okay, Google's gotten pretty smart these days, and if you're naturally writing content about a certain subject, you're naturally going to include keywords that are related to each other, that make sense together. Okay, and I say naturally because you always want to write naturally. Never write for the search engines. But if you want hard data to go along with your keyword phrases that you use, go into Google and type in Google Keyword Tool and do a couple searches on your keyword phrases. You're going to see phrases related to each other, how many searches there are, so on and so forth. So that's a nice tool to use. But remember, always write naturally and always write for people, not the search engines. So here's an SEO cheat sheet that we put together some time ago. I highly recommend you hop over to Facebook and download this. It's a nice guide that will help you in your search engine optimization endeavors. I will say there's an update that it needs that I haven't got to yet, where it talks about your keyword saturation rate. Ignore that part and take the advice I just gave today, and this will be a good tool for you moving forward. So that concludes the second in our 3-part series. I highly encourage you to come back next week where we're going to talk about conversion optimization. So how to take visitors to your website and convert them into leads so that you can work them through your sales funnel and eventually convert them into customers. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. These slides are available at kunocreative.com/blog. And remember, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter and give us any input on any future shows. It's definitely, we can definitely use it, and if we can help you, we certainly want to. So let us know. Thanks.